Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It's about half an hour north of Dallas. Yeah, I go to UNT, which is like the largest public university in the area.
I think there was this notion that, at least I thought so initially. I guess I didn't realize how wide the Browns cast a net to create this new dog logo, but it had to be like chum in the water for graphic designers, right? Everybody like, I got a version of this, I can do this. What was your foray into this? What did you have to do to get a sense of what you wanted it to be and what you wanted your submission to look like?
Well, so I mean, like, there's so many different versions of the Browns dog logo that have gone around for so many years. Just people making stuff as fans of the team or just really interested in design and all that kind of stuff. So when I sat down and I decided that I wanted to make this, I wanted to really focus on the community aspect. I wanted to focus on what can I do to make this representative of not only the Browns, not only Cleveland, not only, the fan base, but the kind of the attitude that you want to portray as an organization, that you want to portray as fans, stuff that you want to show off to Steelers or Ravens or Bengals fans, just piss them off.
Was this your first submission to an NFL team?
Yes.
Yeah. And did you have anybody in kind of your professional or personal network with ties to Northeast Ohio that would kind of help you kind of plug into what the vibe of that is?
Not necessarily. I've known people from Northeast Ohio, not anybody particularly close to me, but I've had conversations with people who are Browns fans and who relate to the organization. And I did my research, going on internet forums, seeing like what Browns fans have to say about, their team and how they feel about the team. And I went out of my way to kind of bring all of those elements together when I made the logo.
And so we were just speculating about this earlier because there was no mention made of it in all the press, but we were curious how you're compensated for this. Obviously it's the bane of every graphic designer or artist's existence when a company goes, well, you'll get so much exposure. That's in lieu of this. Is that what you've heard that refrain over and over and over again. Is that what this was? Now, granted, this isn't like a taco truck in your town. It's a logo for an NFL team. So when it comes to exposure, you're on a whole other level. But was there a conversation about that, or was it just like, hey, congratulations, this is your exposure with the new Browns dog logo?
No, I was compensated so I didn't win like the actual like kind of fan competition. They reached out to me afterwards and said that they wanted me to include my logo in the kind of final 5. And because of that, they needed to pay me as a commissioned artist. They were able to give me $2,500 for that and an initial $500 for the description graphic that I made explaining all of the different elements of the logo. So I got $3,000 and they're going to fly me out. Hopefully I keep saying this November against the Steelers. I'm really excited for that. And that $3K goes a long way as a college student.
Right. That would be a lot of fun to get flown in and be there, on the Jumbotron, and they go, hey, it's Houston Mark, and and everybody's going to go crazy.
Yeah, no, it's insane. I mean, like just the reaction I've seen on the internet and seeing and people have like reached out to me directly, just kind of being like, hey, thank you for the logo. Like it is incredible to see. And right now I'm in Italy, so there's not really much interfacing I'm doing with American football fans. But when I get home and when I come to Cleveland, that's going to be on a whole different level. I'm so excited.
Hey, Mark, this is Bill. We were DMing on Twitter, and I appreciate you getting back to me so fast and calling in. If there is one team that you could do a design for, other than the Browns, what team would you want to try and punch up their design? Is there one that comes to
Well,
mind?
I got two teams for you. They're my favorite teams. I grew up a really big Detroit Lions fan. I really liked their kind of 2017 rebrand with the uniforms and everything, and I think their logo is really, really solid. I recently did a different kind of take on it, and I'd love to kind of re-explore that and see what kind of direction I could go with that.
And those are also pretty fun colors to work with as well.
Oh, they're beautiful colors.
Yeah. I mean,
beautiful.
Working with the Browns colors, the brown and orange, you do have to get a little creative because, I mean, that's not anyone's real go-to palette.
Halloween colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kudos to
you
you
can make
for
it work, though.
Yeah, no, you did a good job with it. And then what was the other team?
Well, I grew up in Houston, and so the bane of my existence has been kind of the Texans' identity and kind of the Texans, I don't know, overall kind of aesthetic and the way that they presented themselves since they came into the league, because of how different it is and how kind of disconnected it is from how ingrained the Oilers feel still, even in the city of Houston and the aesthetics of Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never understood.
I'd love to try. Yeah, no, I trust me, man. Where it would be really fun to do a take on the Texans, and especially because I lived there for so long, and there's so many different parts of Houston that you're going to try and represent. And you really want it to kind of fit with the community that it's a part of, and not just feel as much as like a creative team, you know?
Right.
That's something that I'd really, really love to do.
Were you born in? Were you born into a Lions family? Do you have relatives that are Michiganders, or you just picked up on that team as a kid?
No, I just picked up on the team as a kid.
Yeah.
I love Calvin Johnson. I started following the NFL right around the time that happened, and the 2009 Browns Lions game was probably the first full NFL game that I watched. I went to a Texans Lions game when I was like 6 years old, and I ended up I think we left at some point, but the one where Stafford breaks his shoulder and then comes back in on that game winner.
Yeah.
That just made me fall in love with him. I don't know. Probably should have picked a different team, but
no. Hey, they're on their way up. They're playing the Chiefs in the first game, so that's a huge step up for them. But you know, it's one of those things where when you suffer long with a team like that, when they do eventually win something, which someday they will, it feels even better. It'll feel almost as good as creating a logo, I imagine.
Oh yeah, no, that's the hope. When Stafford won the Super Bowl, I counted that as like a transitive victory for the Lions.
There you go.
Well, listen, man, you mentioned you were in Italy. It's got to be almost midnight there, so I appreciate you taking the time. Congrats on this logo, and maybe we'll run into you when they get you in town in the fall, Houston.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for having me.
All right, thank you, pal.
Yeah, of course.
All right, congrats. There's Houston Mark.
Very cool.
Yeah. I guess I didn't pick up that he was a college student.
Yeah, it says in his bio that he's 21.
Wow, so, okay. Wow, good for him. I guess I was thinking
all ready to be like, yeah, Barry Sanders. I'm like, oh, no, he's a kid.
Right.
Calvin Johnson. Yeah.
Right.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. Well, good for him.
That's
a
good start to your graphic design career. If you're in college, you win this contest, you get some cash. It sounds like there's other things that he can't talk about yet, compensation-wise, that are headed his way. So good for him. That's very exciting.
And that's how they can lowball you, too. You're a college student. They go, yeah, we'll give you three.
Need this.
We'll, we'll give you $3,000.
You gonna say no to $3,000,
Yeah.
you little idiot?
Yeah.
No, you get
Well, good. It was a good get. I didn't
yeah.
realize he was in Italy.
Yeah, I didn't either. Well,
Yeah, it's like 11:15 over there right
He texts me. He's like, "Hey, I'm calling from an Italian phone number." I'm like, "Okay, I don't."
That's racist.
Mm-hmm. It's a 1, a 2,
Hey,
1, a 6.
It's a me, the operator.
You want to call it the Cleveland?
That's right. Alan, what do you think Pat Sajak will really be leaving? I know what you're
One wheel.
I know what you're getting at. I know what you're getting at. I know. What will Ryan Seacrest inherit?
One wheel.
I know. I understand.
Why not just let Vanna White host it? Because she doesn't really have to do anything anymore.
Somebody texted me that their first Playboy was Vanna White in 1987, and she had a great rack, boy.
Did she?
She says now that she's embarrassed by it, but, 35 years ago or whatever, it's nice to, once upon a time, if you were asked to be in Playboy, that was a big, big deal. And so even for Vanna White, who was probably only a couple years into her tenure at Wheel of Fortune, it was a big deal. She was a Georgia girl, South Carolina, or whatever it was, and fresh-faced. Right?
And I don't think she, from what I can find, she didn't do, full nude. It was just, sheer. Let's see.
Yeah, it was like a lace kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
You don't see her bush.
Jesus. This guy. All right. Well, no, I don't know about that. I just, a quick Google image search will just show
80s.
We'll just show you the cover, and that's probably okay, too.
I'm digging
You.
it.
But please don't touch my
A
vagina.
little hand bra action.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of hair. Mhm. I was texting my mom this morning. I said, how
she's
about them nuggets?
She's got to be pumped.
My mom is so excited. When I was home over the weekend, I didn't realize that my mom was a Denver Nuggets fan because she's a big Nikola Jokic fan, loves the Joker. And I texted her this morning. I said, how about them Nuggets? And she and my nephew were so excited. I think she's brought him along for the ride. And boy, how could you go wrong with a dynamic personality like Nikola Jokic?
But I think it's not the most important thing in the world still. There is a bunch of things that I like to do. I mean, probably that's a normal thing, Nobody likes his job, or maybe they do. They're lying. But it's a good feeling when you know that you did something that nobody believes, and it was just us. It's just the organization of the Nuggets believe in us.
Mm-hmm. There are a lot of things I like to do, and nobody like their job all the time. If they say they do, they're lying.
I love it.
Oh, that's great.
And that clip
that
where
so
he goes,
tracks for my mom to like that guy.
the clip where he goes, we can go home now.
Yeah, the
Time to
game
go
is
home.
done or whatever.
The game is done.
We can go home.
We did not tie. We won. Listen, the Heat had an uphill battle the whole time, but Poundcake's boy Kevin Love veiled himself pretty well during that series, but they did only win one game.
He knocked up his chick. I think that's
Kevin Love did?
Yeah,
I didn't hear that news.
Live up to
yeah,
that
they're
name.
about to have a baby.
You didn't get the Google alert on his name, Poundcake?
I didn't.
Wow. So the Nuggets win their first NBA championship ever. They were one of the charter members of the American Basketball Association. They were the Denver Larks in the late 60s. And then when they merged with the NBA in the mid-70s, they became the Denver Nuggets. But the guy who owns the Denver Nuggets
This guy.
owns everything.
This idiot, though. Did you see him trying to whisper in the reporter's ear instead
Yeah.
of talking to the microphone?
He's like, this pretty girl's talking to me. I don't want to say anything on record.
Either that or he's a billionaire who doesn't understand anything. Like, how has he never talked into a microphone before?
The Nuggets and Avalanche franchises are held in his wife's name because you can only own so many things, and then you start putting them in other people's names. His holding company owns Arsenal Football Club, which is no small thing, owns the Rams. He's a guy that, screwed up the whole league by just moving the Rams from St. Louis back to L.A. He owns the Nuggets. He owns the Avalanche. He owns the Colorado Rapids, which is an MLS team.
Oh,
He owns the Colorado Mammoth of the National Lacrosse League.
that's a good name.
He owns the LA Gladiators of the Overwatch League. He owns so he's in esports too. He owns the LA Gorillas of the Call of Duty League. His wife is one of the Walton family
Oh boy.
from Walmart. So they're both loaded. They've been married since the 70s. He's a billionaire a dozen times over, and his team has just won the NBA championship for the first time ever in the history of that franchise.
Three-pointer won't go. Rebound called on Pope. They're not going to foul. The Heat will let it play out. It's over. At last, the long wait is over. After 47 years, the Denver Nuggets can finally call themselves NBA champions.
And by the way, only one mass shooting took place after the win.
All right.
No deaths, right?
No
Just-
deaths, 10 people injured, some of them
Happy
critically.
fire, huh?
Only one person got killed when the Cavaliers won.
Did they? I thought there was just a shooting. I don't think anybody died.
I thought somebody got killed.
I thought somebody just got shot. I thought there was just one person got shot at the parade.
All right. Well, the shooting took place where fans had been celebrating the Denver Nuggets win last night.
My friends were there. They weren't at the game. They were tailgating.
For the Nuggets game.
Yeah, they have they're outside.
So they're out there in the
plaza.
celebration and all that madness.
Well, it was almost like a meme.
Yeah.
I've seen the meme before where it's like the crowd is super still and they're watching the game, then the play happens and it goes crazy. Everyone's throwing cups and spilling their beers. That's literally what happened.
About midnight, 3.5 hours after the game. Something tells me that didn't have anything to do with the game.
Probably not.
Something tells me those were people who were downtown and this probably would have happened anyway. The suspect was one of the 7 people who suffered non-life-threatening injuries. 3 people are in critical condition. Happened about a mile from the arena. That to me sounds like it had nothing to do with a celebration of the Nuggets winning.
They're just people out being dum-dums.
I was a little annoyed when they won, and then they hand the trophy straight to the owner. I asked Brian, I was
But
like,
that
"Who-"
always happens.
I know, but I was like, who's that guy? He goes, the owner. I was like, shouldn't the players get to touch the trophy first? Like,
He
they're
writes
the ones,
he signs their checks.
Yeah, but they're the ones playing the game.
Yeah,
Well,
nobody
he
cares.
gets it
$1
first.
They're not
Yeah.
doing
I
it for
guess.
free.
I know they're not doing it for free. It just rubbed me the wrong way when I saw them hand it to the owner first. I'm like, he didn't do
Yeah, but a
anything.
lot of times, even if they hand it to a player, like Jokic was the MVP, they'll hand it to the owner out of deference. Like, he's the guy who signs checks.
This is the first Finals MVP trophy that we're giving out since Bill Russell's passing, and he'd be incredibly pleased. It's another center. This year's Bill Russell Finals MVP goes to Nikola Jokic.
Oh, good for you.
So Bonnie Cox is happy. My nephew is happy. Their Denver Nuggets have won their first NBA championship.
What is Bonnie short for? Bonald?
Boniferous.
Bonita, as in La
Bonita.
Isla. I like boniferous. And what was the other one?
Bonald.
Bonald. Next time I see her, I'm be like, Bonald.
Bonald.
What's up? All right, I got a break. I'll have the Buzzard bike key for you, trying to get this